Okay. Now we've already recorded it. I sent out Wednesday's recording so people who couldn't make either meeting could go to that, or if they wanted to know what was happening. So here's the agenda, um, the goal of the meeting, the purpose of the bike committee, why are we doing this now, what are we seeking to build, and what do we need of each member, including what are the subcommittees. And then there's a 12 question survey that so far 16 people have filled out. If you have not done it yet, I'll ask you to fill it out. There's a QR code and a link to do it. And then your questions will hopefully be answered. So that's today's agenda. We were, things will be a little bit later. We were done at 10 of the hour at the first meeting, but because people are coming on late, it'll probably go a little bit later as we have to circle back around. So everyone here, with the exception of Randy, is following these instructions. So although I can see you pretty well. So for Zoomers, mute yourself and you're doing that. Front light your face, so avoiding sunlight behind you. But so I see that's hard for, and then if you have a question, raise your hand electronically because with these slides on, sharing the screen, we can't see everybody to see that their hand is raised if you have a question. Meeting call. Explain what we do, launch the committee, launch subcommittees, and get your feedback. The bike committee purpose, twofold, well, promoting more varied and safer sustainable biking practices in Rossmoor and beyond. That's the purpose that we came up with. With enough interest, we can form our own club. For now, we're a committee of Sustainable Rossmoor, but Sustainable Rossmoor is happy either to keep us as a club or to have us launch our own club if we feel we want to do that. Why now? Well, we want to stand on Dick Powell's and others' shoulders, so expand on the good work that they have done and get the benefit of their knowledge and expertise so we can expand the appeal of biking to more people. So what would that look like? Well, we'd have a greater variety of bike trip times, of bike routes people can go on of different distances and different elevation gains. So, and all that's dependent on the number of people that we have. Whoops, I think I jumped up too fast. Right, and so also safety. We want to know that others are looking out for us. We want to have a lead and a sweep on bike rides. We want to make sure that nobody is lost on a bike ride, that first aid is available, that there are supplies for flat tires, um, and that we have some best practice procedures for handling these situations. And also, why now? We're not getting any younger, and Randy especially has so many of the members I know of Dick Powell's group have converted over to e-bikes over the past couple of years, and to help, Randy's interested in helping to eat that transition to e-biking to anybody who wants to consider it. And then finally, advocacy. Having a bike club, we can advocate for safer situations at Rossmoor, and that depends on what work people want to do. But we can have some of us be representatives of this club or of this committee to advocate for either greater education about sharing the road or having bike racks at all the clubhouses, but basically make biking an additional part of the Rossmoor experience, so that so that it is safer for bikers, bicyclists as well. What are we building? So weekly bike rides. So right now, Dick Powell has a Tuesday and Friday bike rides that he goes on, and people go on that. But I know of many people that have their own little groups, whether it's one, two, four, and let's learn from each other and experience each other's bike rides that they like to take, and also have a little more safety in numbers. E-bike demonstrations also, and I'll let Randy say something about that in a little while, and possibly our own club, when we're ready. We're not in any hurry of doing it, but when we feel that's appropriate, we can do that. So what do we need of each member? Well, we need first, uh, as a as a committee of Sustainable Rossmoor, we need you to either, if you had been a member of Sustainable Rossmoor, to renew, but more likely to join Sustainable Rossmoor. It's a $20 a year membership fee, and you can do that either by going to sustainablerossmoor.org and then click on this "Join Us Now" uh, um, icon there. So you can use a credit card for that and fill out your contact information, and you'll be alerted to meetings and other things. Or you can just leave a $20 check in the SR mailbox. That's item one. Item two, we'd like to have as many people as possible committing to leading at least a bike ride as needed. I mean, for starters, that might be quarterly, it might go to annually. And it's good to get as many of our members being able to lead a bike ride so that they can expand the possible bike rides that are available. If we just have one or two leaders and they only want to go out once a week or something, that will really limit the available bike opportunities for everybody. But if everybody is able to lead a bike ride, then if somebody wants to go out on a Monday, they can post that, and those who want to go out on a Monday can join them, and so on, yeah, on the week. So bike ride leaders, so committing to leading a bike ride, making sure proper equipment is there, whether it's the supplying gear, first aid equipment, that confirming that people's bikes are in suitable position. If we have waivers signed, this is modeled after the Trails Club, although Lynn Ferret was at the first meeting, and it turns out she was a past president of the Trails Club. So she said, you don't have to sign waivers every time. You sign them, once uh, uh, once a period of time, and then you just sign. There's a sheet where everybody signs in so that so that the leader knows who is with the group and can make sure that everybody is there. So it's more of an accounting that we haven't lost anybody and that everybody's okay. So anyway, we'll get those procedures in place. Um, the second thing is joining a subcommittee. There are a lot of little things that are tasks that don't take a lot of work, but collectively build the committee, build the club. And one of them that we're doing right now is organizing. That's one subcommittee, figuring out how many levels of bike riders should we have, how many bike rides, what distance should the rides be, elevation gains. Um, do we need liability waivers, liability insurance? What about ride safety? Uh, what do we need to implement so that people feel safe? And let's see, I have videos that are in the way. Let me, oh, okay. And then a second subcommittee, communications. We need to let people know about us to help recruit people. We need a liaison with GRF so that we can make room reservations and we can lobby for bike racks or uh, share the road labeling, um, whatever we feel would be appropriate to make to make things safer for bicyclists. Another subcommittee is having the supplies and gear on each ride so that whether it's patches for tires or whether it's first aid. Now, I know Lynn Ferret has agreed to put together a first aid belly bag so that the so that one at least one person on the ride would be responsible there and would have the belly bag and 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 she's also willing to train people in first aid if they don't know it. Um, let's see, protocols. Well, that's just I know Bernie uh, Wolf has agreed to write up or at least to obtain some protocols on what to do if somebody gets hurt or if there's uh, or if or other situations occur. Another subcommittee is bike routes. There's this wealth of knowledge amongst all the bicyclists of bike routes they like to go on. And we'd like to document that for the benefit of everybody and probably put that up on a website is the best way of disseminating that. So then as people are interested in going on a bike ride, I mean, they'll notify what bike rides are going to be, but you can, if you're a bike leader and you say, what bike ride do I want to lead? You can look at a selection of possible routes if you don't have a favorite one of your own. So creating that for the benefit of everyone. There's also promoting e-bikes committee. So this would be serving as a getting relationships with bike stores who are willing to provide demos for riding, and we're going to have a few of those rides right now in the not too distant future. We're just working out the final details with with Trek Bicycle of Alamo, and we've also reached out to, I forget the name of it. It's also on the Iron Horse Trail, California. Bike, snowboard and bikes that Randy and Lynn had bought their e-bikes from. So just making it easy for people to try out e-bikes, see if that appeals to them. I know for myself, I feel e-bike is a inevitable thing eventually. I am just holding off. So I don't know if it's going to be in my 70s or my 80s, but at some point I will convert over. Uh, okay, so those are the subcommittees, and now we're going to have have you fill out a survey. So sorry, if you hold up your phone to the screen, first of all, tap the camera on your phone. And then if you hold the phone up to this QR code there, then underneath you'll see a yellow thing comes up, and that's the link. It says uso2web.zoom.us. If you press on that yellow link, it will bring you to a bike committee survey. And we're asking you now to complete that survey if you haven't done it already. If you've already done it, because we sent out a link, the link that's above there, and some of you have already filled it out. So don't do it again if you've done it, because otherwise we're going to be overweighting your preferences. So I'm going to ask for those who haven't done it, if you can do it now and take your time. And then we will review the results from you and everybody who's done it so far. So before this call, I think there were 16 people who had filled it out. So we can look at the results. And I'm going to, okay, so I'm gonna pause there on the presentation so I can pull up the survey. Okay, here's the results. I'm going to, right, there's 16 results so far. Oh, now there's 17. So somebody here has filled it out. And I'll give a couple more minutes before we look at the results of what people have come up with. And I'll take a drink while we're doing this. And thanks to, I know a number of you on this call have already filled out the survey, so thank you for having done that already. Okay, well, I think we can go ahead and look at the results now. Unless if somebody says that they're not done, if they want a little more time, we can wait. Okay, let's see if, okay, so here's all the people who filled out. Now, so the question number 2, what is your preferred bike length? And so 10 people have said 20 to 30 miles, 5 people said 15 to 20, and 2 people have said 10 to 15 miles. So that helps us get a sense of how long our bike ride should be. Here's the next one. What is your preferred type of bike ride or elevation gain? So we have 5 people who would rather have greater than 500 feet elevation gain. So those would be our strong bicyclists. We have 2 who want to see a 200 to 500 feet gain. Nobody checked off a long continuous climb. Rolling hills is favored by 7 people, and 6 people have said it's as close to level as possible. So we see that there's a wide range of preferred types of bike rides, which speaks to having a wide variety of bike rides that are led, so to capture the interest of our diverse group. What is your e-bike situation? So currently, 8 people who took the survey own an e-bike, and 4 people have said they'd be open to trying out an e-bike, and 5 said they have no interest in riding an e-bike. Okay, let's look at the rest. The next thing, what days would you be generally available to go on bike rides? The reason why I didn't put Saturday and Sunday separately is because I could only get 6 responses on this survey platform. So I just lumped them into weekends. So that was a limitation of the Zoom survey, or of my ability to figure out how it works. So what days would you be generally available? We see that it's across the board there. Currently, Dick Powell's group goes on Tuesdays and Fridays, and that might point to why there's a slight overrepresentation of Tuesdays there, but Fridays is right in the middle of the pack. But we see, let's see, I don't know, I wrote it as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. Okay, it's going from the last to the, okay, anyway. So we see Fridays are 5, Thursdays are 9, Wednesdays 4, Tuesdays 12, Mondays 6, and weekends are 9. And we don't know how that's distributed amongst Saturday and Sunday. So again, there's a wide range. When we first start out, we'll see, about Tuesdays and Thursdays or weekends. And then as our numbers go up, we can expand it to other days of the week as well. Again, as more people take this survey, we'll see what people's availabilities are. Uh, rot- okay, rotating leading of bike rides among the members makes sense to develop more leaders and to provide more options for all. So 7 don't know, 9 said yes, and only 1 disagreed with that statement. So that's good. We have general consensus that, well, a majority feel that it makes sense to be rotating bike leaders. The reality that Lynn told us is that it's hard to get some people to lead hikes, and so you get some people who enjoy it or don't mind it doing the bulk of them, and then you get others who just do a few. But I think it's a good aspiration, if not an actual implementation. Okay, next, 7, having someone who can repair a flat tire or other minor repairs on a bike ride is important. So 10 people felt strongly agreed with that statement, and 7 people slightly agreed with that statement. So there's general agreement with that. Next, question 8, having somebody who knows first aid on a bike ride is important. 10 people agreed with that strongly, 6 people slightly agreed with it, 1 person neither agreed nor disagreed. I wonder if that person was a doctor or not. Okay, question number 9, assuring that no one gets lost on a bike ride is important. 13 people agreed with that statement out of 17. 2 people slightly agreed with it, and 2 people neither agreed nor disagreed. And then what suggestions do you have? There's a lot of good suggestions here. I'm not going to go through them. But the people who are interested in the organizing of the group will want to go through that. Question 11, should we remain a committee of Sustainable Rossmoor or form our own club? 4 are in favor of keeping it a club. 3 want it to become a separate, keeping it a Sustainable Rossmoor committee. 3 people are in favor of it becoming its own club, and the rest, 10, don't know at this time. So I think it's too early to make that change, but I think it'll become obvious at the time that if we want to do that. And then number 12, which subcommittees are you willing to lend a hand to? And we have 5 willing to lend a hand with organizing, 4 to the promotion and communication parts of it, and recruitment, and 4 willing to help with putting together the supplies and gear and first aid, and I have 1 willing to help with the bike route compilation at this point and website building. So that's the survey. This is a necessary part of organizing here, is finding out your interest. I'm going to, so that's that result. Now let me go back to the survey, and I think the only thing here is now, okay, survey results. That's okay. I think just Q&A at this point. So I'm going to stop the share at this point. And first of all, thank you for your feedback of everybody who, oh, Hal, I'm glad you were able to get on. So thank you for those who got on. And of course, I think I have a reasonable excuse blaming Comcast or the weather for the disarray that we had early on getting started. But it's good to see 9 of you here. We had 9 or 10 at the last meeting. Some of you are the same. So at this point, and thank you for those who filled out the survey. If you didn't fill it out, I would encourage you to do so we can incorporate your preferences into the group. At this point, I'll see if there are any questions. from anybody? I know I'm, well, one question I would have is when are we going to do a bike ride? Um, and actually, Randy, I'm gonna mute myself and have you, if you can discuss where things stand right now with Trek Bicycle Alamo. I can discuss where things are with California uh, uh, Bicycle Group after you do that, and what your thoughts are. I'm gonna mute myself.
Hi. So my first arrangement was with Trek Alamo, and they want to do it on a Sunday morning before they open. For us, they can dedicate the store to us. We can use as many bikes as we want. But I think during our first meeting, there were only four who can make it on a Sunday. So I asked them if we can do a weekday morning, and I'm still waiting for a response. But Lean Foret reach out to California Snowboards and Bike, also in Alamo, just a couple of blocks away from Trek. And I know them because this that's where I bought my bike. And I think they said, yeah, they'll be willing to do it any day of the week. And so I still have to reach out, and I still have to find out. We still have to find out what days would work for everybody or for most of us, and then we can arrange. We can schedule something. So for now, yeah, we have two bike shops willing to, yeah, let us try their bikes.
Okay, thanks, Randy.
Okay.
Um, so week or two, we'll we'll have details. This will be a bike ride um, along Iron Horse Trail, uh, and this will be an opportunity for those who want to try out an e-bike can do that, or they can just bring their bicycles to Iron Horse Trail. Um, and that'll be the first one. But I I I do want to mention and shout out to actually two of the people on this call who provided information of different bike trips, bike rides that they have done that they would recommend, and that is Hal Cushions. Thank you for providing that information, and Bernie Wolf and people he reached out to also did that. Sorry, Lana, I'm including Bernie along with you because even though I don't see you, I assume that both of you are listening. So so what we'll do, we have so I I can reach out to our web person at Sustainable Rossmoor, and once we have somebody who's willing to work with that web person, we can start getting that information up on a website, up on a web page at Sustainable Rossmoor for now. And again, we can move it over to our own club webpage if a time when we make that change. Um, so so we'll be reaching out for getting the details of uh, those first bike rides, and then we'll also be reaching out to individuals about leading bike rides, and we'll be promoting those to you. Um, I don't know. Other questions? I know I don't do that great of a job of presenting all the information, so I'm a little wondering what you're all thinking. Although thank you again for those who filled out the the survey so that we know what's what you're thinking. Uh, oh, I'm not connected. Okay. I Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Me a little better now. Hal, go ahead. We're not hearing you.
Must be the microphone, his microphone.
Yeah, it might be your microphone, Hal. We're not hearing you. Uh, you might want to turn up a volume or switch microphones. Anybody else have a question while Hal is getting his microphone working? Okay, now you're muted, Hal. Now you're unmuted.
So I have a question. How about when
Uh,
are we gonna start forming those subcommittees?
as far as forming the subcommittee, as far as forming subcommittees, so people have filled out on the surveys where they're willing to help out on. So for each subcommittee, so I'm willing to lead up the organizing one. The other subcommittees, Randy or I will reach out to each of the people because we have your individual responses. We'll reach out and see who is willing to take a lead on that subcommittee, and we'll work with them to help launch those subcommittees, getting them up and running. So as we so like I reached out to example to, well, so I've started reaching out to some people, and it's a process. Some people are happy to lend a hand, some people are willing to lead an effort, but you gotta some broadcasting information like this works fine on Zoom, but getting commitment from people is better done one-on-one, has been my experience. So we'll reach out individually to see how people will help out. Does that answer your question? So we'll reach out one-on-one over I've started doing that. We'll do more of it, and then as the committees, as we have a lead, then we'll give them the people who volunteered, and we'll reach out, and there'll be separate meetings for those subcommittees. Okay, how do you want to use the chat to put in your question? No, okay. Okay, I see a lot of frowning faces here. Maybe because I'm not smiling enough. Okay.
So can you hear me? This is Anne.
And I can hear you.
Okay, so when I first heard about this group, I sort of thought there was going to be a focus on trying to make it safer to bike around here because I think, I mean, when I moved here a couple years ago, I thought I'd be able to ride from my place to the different trails nearby, the Iron Horse, the Lafayette, Moraga, but I quickly decided that was going to be a cataclysmic event because it was not safe.
Right.
Um, so I put my bike in the car and go wherever I want to go biking
That's what I
and deal
do.
with that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so I guess I mean, there's been all these stories about, golf carts running into people and cars running into people. And is there, it's kind of a passing mention to the PALS or the Safer Streets group.
Hmm.
Um, I guess, I mean, I'm kind of surprised there's no signs, even share the road signs.
Right. Right.
Or anything like that, that pretty low lift, and are certainly around the streets in the neighborhood, but I don't think people pay attention to them. So I'm not
Yeah.
even sure whether that would be effective or not, or if people have any knowledge of
Well,
that.
it's a good point, Ann. Currently, there's no advocacy. There's no one representing the bicyclists at Rossmoor. They are pretty much a non-entity. There are a couple of bike racks, uh, seemingly as an afterthought. I guess there's some thought there, but I know I bicycle down to the gym. There's a bike rack there. There's one at Gateway in the back. But there are certainly are not bike racks at all of the clubhouses. There's no signage about sharing the road. And I, you know, I so having a voice for bicyclists, this group can serve as that voice, and we can advocate for these things, and I think we would be successful, certainly depending on our numbers, to raise that consciousness. So, and that would include articles in the in the Rossmoor News to educate the public as far as that there are bicyclists out there, and how they should consider us. So we can do that work, and I'm sure that there would be other people who'd have your interest in doing that as well. That's one of the things that we can do, and that's one of the subcommittees that advocacy work. So, but it has to
Okay.
start somewhere. It's not, we don't have it yet, but it's not that hard to get together. And the work that we do in these various subcommittees will be reinforcing each other for the benefit of the group as a whole. That's how that's how clubs get started.
Mhm. Okay.
I hope I don't know if that was an adequate answer, but at least that's what I've seen. You know, I I've put together a couple of things. Some are clubs and some are just projects of a club. I direct a choir, and that a choir you need at least 20 members. So back 10 years ago when I got here, I wanted to form this choir, so I looked into what's involved in forming a club. You need at least 20 people. You need to have officers. You need to have bylaws. You need to pay for insurance, 38 cents per person plus $5 per year for the liability insurance. So these different things that you need as a club, bylaws, um, and you can get them together eventually, and then you can reserve your own rooms. Or you can be a project of another club and not have the numbers limitation. And Anyway, so that was a way that we got this committee started quickly, so that we can start advertising and collecting people's interest, and then we decide where we want to go from there. Okay, so if it were up and running already, and we can, again, I believe in not reinventing the wheel. So if the Safer Streets uh, committee or club, if that partnering with them to expand their horizon to include not just pedestrians but bicyclists as well, I think is a smart move. The more numbers there are behind the clubs, the more they're
Right.
going to listen. The more they're
Right.
going to listen. So,
Right.
reaching out, I'd reach out to them and and start talking to them about it. But anyway, I'm on 5 boards right now, and I sing in 5 singing groups. So I am pretty, and I'm on the tennis teams that representing Rossmoor for various things. So I am, and I'm a grandfather, and a husband. So I'm kind of somewhat maxed out, but I do enjoy organizing, getting things started and up and running, and I've done that all my life, with various companies and things, and real estate funds and different things. So I want to see this happen, and I'll lend my time to get it up and running, and I'll be a user of it. I love bicycling. Um, okay, other questions? Okay, well, so I'll send out a recording of this and the slides as I did on the last one. We'll be contacting you as far as participation in the various subcommittees, and then we'll be offering bike rides. And if again, that the group is only as good as the work that the different participants do to get things started. But I think this can be uh, a great committee, a great club, and we can expand our enjoyment. Right now, if you bike with one or two other people, and that's, I mean, I walk every day with my wife, but it's a different experience doing it as part of the Trails Club. And this provides that similar opportunity for those who are biking. I think it's even more important with bicyclists because it's a lot more hazardous biking on the roads individually than as a group. As a group, the the motorists see you. They see the group and they give it a wider berth because it's not suddenly, just one bicyclist that they're trying to squeeze by. But so, there's something to be said for that. Anyway, thank you for attending, and you'll be hearing from Randy or me if you've offered a group. Otherwise, we'll be sending out notices about bike rides through email. Eventually, when a website gets up and running, you can be checking that for available bike rides as well. So, any other comments before we sign off? Oh, sorry, Hal, I'm not. We're still not hearing you. You can chat. You can put it in the chat, and we can look at that.
Hi.
Oh wait, Hal, I think we just heard you say something.
Okay. Yeah.
We hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. Just my experience about days of the week.
Uh-huh.
If you want to ride like the Iron Horse Trail or any of the canal trails,
Right.
I don't ride those on the weekends because there's just too many people walking.
Hmm.
Especially if you have, 5, 6, 7, 8 bike riders. And I don't do it early in the morning because again, there's a lot of people walking. Um, and many of them don't pay any attention to bicyclists.
Uh-huh.
So just that's my suggestion.
Okay. Very good. I usually do Moraga Bike Trail on the weekend, but early, like 7 o'clock or so. And 1 out of 10, I'd say, if I say on your left, they they are they get frightened and they just latch out, arbitrarily moving to the right, moving to the left. They didn't hear that I'm on their left, so they'll are more. So about 1 out of 10, or half of the time, will actually move toward me instead of away from me. So it's 1 out of 20. So I've taken to making an assessment of, if people are just staying in the right, I'm not going to say on your left because I don't want to scare them. But if they're kind of moving in the middle, or then I'll say on your left, and have to be ready for the 1 in 20 who get frightened and actually move toward the left. That's been my experience, but it's not that bad.
A bell is very effective because that gets through people's headphones. A lot of people have headphones,
Yeah,
and sometimes that's more effective than the voice at
you're right.
getting
You're
through to
right.
people.
I do both. The reason I do the on your left is because they say, at least on Moraga Trail, they ask you to call out.
Yes, I
They,
do both as well. I do both as well.
yeah, they have signage for it. So I say, well, okay, powers that be want me to do this, so I'll do it even
Yeah.
though I have reservations about it.
Yeah, that's a good practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
well,
you.
thanks all.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.